Hey everyone, this is Ellie Mae with Swift Creek Customs, and in the previous video I shared how I used the rhinestone tool in the Siser Leonardo Design Studio software to create a pattern for beading. Here's a look at the bracelet that I created using this pattern that I drew inspired off of a design in the Siser library. You'll find a link in the description below for that video on how exactly I created that. While I was doing that video at the end, I mentioned that you could change out the colors, and a color scheme can sometimes attract or detour you from wanting to create a project. And so I was going to create a second design, swapping the colors out in this bracelet pattern. And I wanted to share with you an easy way that you can swap out colors and choose different color patterns. So you can create your own color palettes for a pattern. As I mentioned in the previous video, it doesn't really matter how you create the digital design. You can use whatever colors of beads or for your project that you would like. One way you can do that is by using color cards, which do all the work for you. So it gives you a palette of colors that will give you options for those colors. Here's a look at my color cubes that I use in all kinds of different craft projects. There's also a link in the description below if you find that this might be a useful tool for you. I am terrible at picking colors, so I will use these for picking out my beading patterns, colors that go together, as well as things like choosing scrapbook paper, creating digital designs, all of that kind of thing. So it can be a very useful tool for you to create with. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to use the select by color to choose the colors in this pattern that I have created. The first thing I'm going to do is, since I already started some of the design process in this first one, I'm going to select this entire first design and use this little eyedropper tool and then pick up the blue color. So now it's all one color and it is a completely different color than my current color palette. And then here is my design. I'm going to make a copy of this and move it down here. So we have an original copy of what we're working with. Now what I want to do is I'm simply going to take and swap out this color palette. So I'm going to swap the teal for the purple. Now I don't want to simply just select all the teal and change it to purple, because then when I go to select the second color, it's not going to work right. So I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to choose ungroup. And then all of these little pieces are individual circles. I'm going to move this one down out of the way just a little bit so we don't get confused. So I want to select all of these teal colors. Now, I don't need to go select everything individually unless you're creating a new pattern. If you're simply swapping out colors, you can easily use the select by color. I'm going to come over here with nothing selected. I'm going to click off of it. So nothing is selected. I'm going to click on this little menu right here to the right of this eyedropper, and then I can choose my colors. I'm going to select the teal and click accept. Now my selection box is around my teal. All of the teal here is selected. Since this one is grouped down here, it should not be selected. If it was ungrouped and all of those circles were individual, then it would select that as well. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to change this out. Now, as I mentioned, I can't simply change it to the purple because then it would, I'd have too many purples for when I go to step 2. I'm going to change this to an obnoxious red and click apply. Now you can see that all of those are red. Now, if I change the purple to a completely different color, something that goes with red, we can make it a Valentine's. You could do pink. And like I said, it doesn't really matter. What you end up beading with your project is what's going to matter. This could also be used to create patterns for rhinestone designs. So whether you're using it for beading, like I am, or you wanted to make a shape in a rhinestone pattern, now you have a rectangle of rhinestones. So next, I'm going to click off of it to deselect it. Back on my select by color, I'm going to choose this medium violet and click accept. Now that time it did because the edges are out there. So I wanted this, I'm going to come in here to my layers panel And with this one selected here, it's grouped together, so it should show at the bottom of as a group. I'm going to hide that layer. And then I still have it on my design, but the software is not going to see it. So now if I come back over here to the color picker, if I come and choose select shapes, choose that medium violet and click accept, it's only going to accept the colors in this design since the other one is hidden. So I misspoke originally. It did not select it because I think it was inside of the boundaries of the bracelet and not hitting on the outer edges. So now once purple is selected, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to change that to that teal color that I liked. I call it teal. The software does not see it as teal. Click apply. And then I can come back in here and I can change, click off to deselect, click on the select by color, and I'm going to choose that red color. Now I have to decide if it's red or crimson. It looks like it's that color. And then what I want to do is I'm going to change that to my purple, which was CA00CA. Apply. And now I have swapped out the colors of this, and I can come back to my layers panel and change that. So now I have two different patterns for my colors. Now, one way that might be easier to see these patterns is to simply place a solid background behind it. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to choose color picker, fill, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this as, I have black in my thing. So let's do a solid white so we don't see that grid of the cutting mat. And right click and choose send to back. So now you can kind of see the two patterns. And let's just make a copy of this and separate it out a bit more. So Control C, Control V, right click, order, send to back, and move this one down here. So now we have, I just wanted some designation there. So there's one pattern, and you can see how a pattern with the color palette would be changed out. And then you can create your bracelets or your projects, your rhinestone project or a bracelet. Think of other ideas on what you could use this for. If you have any questions, I thought this was a neat way you could just utilize some of the tools in the Siser Leonardo Design Studio software. Let me know if you have questions or comments below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.